Okay, so today, guys, I wanted to take a look at the classic flagship, the iPhone 7, and to see if it's still worth buying in 2023, and if you already own one, should you hang on to it longer, or should you consider upgrading? That's what we're going to find out in this video. So to start things off, you get a 4.7-inch LCD panel, decent viewing angles, 60 hertz, so not the smoothest thing ever. This video is shot in 30 frames, so you're not gonna see the full effect of the display, but it's 60 hertz, decent viewing angles, 720p, so HD plus. It's reasonably color accurate, fairly bright. The thing has a single camera on the back with flash, and on the front you get a selfie camera, you get the earpiece. On the bottom you have two speaker grills, which is kind of weird, but only one of them, the one on the right, is an actual speaker. The one on the left is just there for aesthetics. You get the outdated Lightning port, which, I mean, even if you buy the iPhone 14 Pro, you still get the Lightning port, so that's not really a big deal if you're already in the Apple ecosystem. It runs iOS 15.7, or 15.7.4, if I remember correctly. That's the latest update that at least mine's gotten. So it's not getting iOS 16, it's only getting security patches, and it's just about done with its security patch stage. And as far as usability goes, I mean, even though it's not supported by Apple's like latest iOS 16, I mean, it's still a surprisingly capable phone. I mean, I've been using it for about maybe week and a half, 2 weeks now, and it's honestly not that bad. Like, to start things off, the battery life, it's not the greatest. I mean, if you're gonna buy an iPhone 7, or if you already own one, it's probably got a lot of use on it. So I mean, like mine, for example, the battery health is at 89%. So I mean, you're gonna have a degraded battery, but even if you buy it brand new, the battery life still isn't gonna be very good in 2023. I usually have to charge this thing like 2 to 3 times a day, but I am a heavy user, so for you, you might get, if you're a user like me, a power user, you might get 2 hours of screen on time, 3 hours. But if you're like a more casual user, you might get closer to like 5 hours. Yeah, 4 to 5 hours. So in terms of the camera, it has a single 12 megapixel shooter on the back and a, if I remember correctly, 7 megapixel selfie camera. The photo quality isn't really bad per se in 2023, but I wouldn't say it's anything better than just okay. So photography, it's not gonna be your greatest phone ever, but I mean, it's functional. Like, for example, got some photos here. This was a shot in the 12 megapixel resolution. So decent HDR. I mean, the coloration isn't quite spot on. And obviously, this is through another phone camera, so it does look a little better in person. But overall, it's with good lighting, you can still get decent photos. But like in terms of video, things kind of fall apart. Like for example, this video right here, it's in 4K 30, which this video is in 1080p 30. Just on the iPhone 7, 4K 30 frames. Guys, let me know how the audio sounds. Yeah. So obviously, the audio is not good. I mean, it doesn't really. There's no real noise isolation. Plenty of artifacts. There's a lot of at least in terms of like recording audio. There's obviously a lot of noise from the wind, and you actually at least I struggled to make out my own voice there when I asked how the audio sounded, which is kind of ironic, but yeah, so overall, the camera quality is mediocre, I would say. I mean, it's right now I'm recording on last year's S22 Ultra, and I mean even this isn't like studio grade, but yeah, in terms of video, the iPhone 7 isn't very good anymore. Photos, like photography, it's good in with good lighting, but that's about all I can give it. Now, in terms of gaming, outside of the battery life, which, like I already mentioned, isn't very good, in terms of raw performance, it's not slow, which I think it's faster than a lot of people would think. Like, Geekbench, for example. I'll use Geekbench 5 for reference. I'm not going to run the whole test. Don't leave the video, please. I'm not going to make you sit here and wait. Yeah, we've got, this I ran on iOS 15.7. Now it's on 7.4. But single core CPU, we got 776, which is respectable. And remember, this is a quad core CPU, so its single core is going to be higher than like a Galaxy S7 or S8. And then multi core 1413, which is still decent. I mean, that's really not bad when you think about it. I mean, consider how old this phone is. It came out like what, 7 years ago almost? Came out in like 2016, so this is really an outdated phone. Yeah, and so in terms of performance, basically the battery life isn't good. Like I already said, it heats up really fast, but the overall performance is actually decent still. So if you're a casual gamer, this is going to be plenty. But if you're like an enthusiast, or if you're a power user, if you're just a hardcore gamer, you're going to want to look to something, I would say at least the iPhone XR, because at least that runs the Apple's A12 Bionic. This runs the A10 Fusion, which is still a capable chip. It's just not necessarily the fastest thing you can ever get. In terms of watching videos, streaming videos, anything like that, this is going to be more than enough. And it also features stereo speakers, which have decent bass, actually a surprising amount of bass. Seems like they're lacking mid-range. They overall, in terms of quality, I would give them maybe a 6 out of 10, because they're definitely still solid. It's just like even like the iPhone 11, for example, is gonna sound way better. So if you're an audio enthusiast, this phone's probably not for you, but the average user will be completely fine with the built-in speakers. So that pretty much sums it up for this video. The only other thing would be the design, which like you get there's no Face ID, but I mean like you have 3D touch. Like if I touch lightly, it takes a minute to pull that menu up, but if I push hard, it comes up instant. Pushing light, hard. So it has 3D touch, which even more modern iPhones like the iPhone 14 doesn't have. It has Touch ID instead of Face ID, which I actually prefer. It also features the iconic home button, which, fun fact about the iPhone 5S all the way up to the latest SE, the home button is actually fake, for those of you that didn't know that. It's a pressure plate, not a physical home button. So, yeah, in terms of like the aesthetics, I mean, you have aluminum back, aluminum sides, and you have a glass screen, obviously, so there have been some durability tests on that, so if you're still interested in buying this phone, you could watch those to see whether or not you need a case. Personally, I'm not using a case, but I would probably recommend it if you want your phone to last a while. So yeah, that pretty much sums it up in terms of this review. So do I think the iPhone 7 is still worth it in 2023? If you're looking to buy it pre-owned, which you can get it for around $50 or so, so under 75, I would say yes, it's worth it. If you're okay with not getting software updates, that's all you can afford, and you have to have an iPhone. If you don't have to have an iPhone, then I would recommend like a newer budget phone, like maybe the Galaxy A03s, or maybe the A04s, or something along those lines, because it's still going to be supported with software for a long time, when this isn't. So, yeah, if you already own the iPhone 7, I would say you don't necessarily have to upgrade yet if it's working for you. But if you're having issues with it, or you're just interested in upgrading, there's no shame in replacing your iPhone 7. It's actually impressive if it's lasted this long for you. So that pretty much sums it up, and yeah, I guess I'll catch you in the next video. If you have any other phones you want me to review, just let me know and down in the comments below, and I guess I'll catch you next time.